Can you all see my screen fine? The presentation screen, and you can also hear me fine?
Yeah, perfect.
Excellent. Great. Welcome, everyone. Um, Thanks for joining the call today. So basically, today's session is all about Serenity test automation. Let me just introduce myself about me. So I'm Satish Sabapati. So what I'm doing right now, so I'm a head of testing for one of a global media company, and also run a small IT consultancy business. So if you have any questions or anything about this particular session, you could reach me on my email, and this is my LinkedIn. And then I hope to publish this video in my YouTube channel, so you can find the link also from there. Um, so in terms of the agenda for today, so basically, I'll give a quick introduction to begin with what this session is about, what you can expect in this call, um, and how it will benefit you, and what are the next steps and things like that. And then we'll quickly talk about the prerequisites. So obviously, this is only a 1 hour session, plus about 30 minutes are allocated for like question and answers. So automation is a very vast subject, and it's kind of difficult to cover everything within this session. So I'll try and cover as much as possible, but certain things are assume that you know already. So I'll run through what those are. We'll talk about test automation basics to begin with. So in the call today, we are going to look at Cucumber BDD driven framework. So I'll give a quick overview of what that is for people who doesn't know about it. Then we'll talk about Serenity, and we'll do hands-on test of UI test automation on Serenity API. Again, it's dependent on the time. So if we don't have enough time, then I might uh, try to cover it quicker. And then finally, conclusion and Q&A. So that's pretty much the agenda. Um, in terms of if you have any burning questions, I suggest you could ask in the chat window. You could post them in. Um, uh, I think between the sessions, I will pause and see if you have any particular questions for me, so I can check in the window and ask them, or you could unmute yourselves and ask the question, so we can go about it. Is my talking speed okay, or should I slow down?
No, it should be fine.
Good. Okay, so idea behind this session. So basically, we have this WhatsApp support group, which is really good. I think someone asked about Serenity, and they wanted to learn about it, and a lot of people were interested to learn about it. So that's why I arranged this session to give a quick overview. And I also thought, why not we extend to further other people. So I actually posted a um, thing in my LinkedIn for for other people who would be interested to join as well. So they could be. I've received a lot of interest from people in like US, India, and other countries as well. So they could be joining, and some people asked for recording, so that will also happen. So the whole idea is the test community is very small. We should help out each other. So everyone will have different skills. Every day there are new tools coming in the market. It's impossible for everyone to keep track of everything. So the more the people we share, we gain more knowledge, and we kind of help each other out. So that's the whole idea. Okay, in terms of prerequisites, so as I said, so this session, I've said, basically will help you to learn about test automation within Serenity. So if you're totally a new fresher into the testing space, it might be very difficult to understand, because I would expect that you kind of have an understanding of what the test cases are, the manual testing, regression, and all those things. So if you're total fresher, uh, obviously you're welcome to listen through, but you may not get the grasp of it. So leave it to you. And in terms of Ascension, so we will be using things like Git and Java and these things. So it'll be difficult to cover all those concepts in here. So I would expect you have Git installed already. That's not covered within the session, because we will be downloading a sample project from the Git library, and we'll be using it. So you would need to have Git installed, whether it is Windows or Mac. And you would also need to have the latest Java installed environment variable set. um, and Maven should also be installed and ready. So I would be using IntelliJ as an IDE for this particular session. This is my favorite IDE, and it is very, very easy to use as well compared to Eclipse. My own preference, but it could be different for you. So again, installation of IDE is not covered in this topic. Okay, so test before we dive into the Serenity part, just a quick brief overview of what the test automation um, basics are. So first of all, why do we need to automate anything? So within the testing space, we write a lot of test cases to test an application to check the quality. So we have requirements. We write test cases on that requirement. Um, and then we try to test through. So some people maintain it in the Excel sheet, some use tools like Jira or QTP and things like that. But it's impossible to kind of test all the test cases for every release. So as much as we can automate, um, it will make our lives easier, because your test cycles will be shorter, because it will give you more time to focus on the exploratory testing and critical testing, while your regression testing is taken care of by the automated test scripts. So that's why we like to automate. So what is BDD and Cucumber? Um, this is actually not integral part of automation testing or Serenity, but in this current world, I've seen 90% of the people are kind of using Cucumber or some kind of a behavior driven framework to maintain their test cases. So we'll quickly talk about that, why, what it is, and how we would use it within the Selenium and Serenity. And finally, yeah, UI test automation. So UI test automation is basically, you have test scripts to test the user interface, be it your website or your mobile or anything. So you want to test the user journeys. So for example, user could be logging in, he's doing some actions, and logging out. So all these things, you kind of record the journey, and you maintain it. So each test case will ensure that you're covering the particular journeys. So that's UI automation. And what is API automation? So API is basically, in most cases, it is REST API. So this is behind. Usually, it's behind the UI, like a web UI. So web interface will interact with the API to get its content. So for example, in terms of REST API, you have methods like get, post, delete, update, and all these things. So sometimes the UI test becomes very difficult to automate all the scenarios, because it's time consuming. It could be flaky if it's not written properly. Whereas with API, because you only have a handful of methods, it's much more easier to create and maintain. So it is recommended that you have more API tests compared to UI automation. So that's pretty much the basics we would need to know before we go into uh, the Serenity. So now coming on to Cucumber. So as I said, this is not compulsory that you need to know Cucumber or you need to use Cucumber. But as I said, a lot of people are using the Cucumber format to maintain their test cases. So basically, if you are an agile company, you have user stories which are given by your product owner or business analyst. So the user stories will have some kind of a content, let's say search by a keyword, for example. So in the Cucumber, when we write the test cases, we basically, the story name will be the feature name, and we start to write the scenarios which are your test cases. So this is a scenario outline, what exactly the test case is doing, and then you have the actual test case, which is given, when, then. So given is your precondition. So in any test case, you will always generally have a precondition. So before you start a test, um, you expect that a user already exists, and system is in good state and things like that. Excuse me. Um, and then you do an action. So the user is present, and he's logged in, and the user is searching for, let's say, Cucumber. Then is your verification or assertion, where you are ensuring, for that action that you did previously, whether you got the um, right kind of result or not. So this can get a bit more advanced and complicated. Like if you have more and more test cases, then you could use things like you can parameterize the test cases. But obviously for this particular session, we will not go much in detail about it. We'll just stick to the basic scenario. Okay, so this is your basic test case. So this is very readable, understandable by even non-technical people. Your product owner or business will know what test case you have written. And so when we come to automate this thing, basically, so these are steps, and we need to write step definitions to implement each of these steps, right? So that is called glue code, right? So how you do that is basically, for each of these things, you would use some kind of a programming language within the framework, and that will convert your steps into a skeleton of uh, step definition, and then you can start implementing the actual code within that in Java, or Ruby or any other framework. So Cucumber is kind of just a framework. So you have implementation in Java, Ruby, JavaScript, and a lot of other cases. Um, so that's BDD, given, when, then. So depending on the number of stories and features you have, you'll start to maintain the feature files, and then you'll have the step definitions carrying out the implementation of those steps. So that's pretty much is your Cucumber. So now coming on to Serenity. So before I start, any questions, anyone? If I'm really fast, or if something's not clear, feel free to let me know.
So far, so good.
Excellent. Okay, so Serenity. Basically, Serenity is a test automation framework. There are loads of test automation tools and frameworks available in the market. Why is it particularly that we are discussing Serenity today? Is I have been in the test automation space for more than 10 years now. I've started from basic Selenium, Java, to use Ruby, Cucumber, JavaScript, and a lot of other tools. In most places, when in previous years, we would have to set up something called a framework. because the Selenium and all these things are pretty much all like libraries, and it will help you do the job, but you'll have to put all of these things together to make it work. Right. So you must have heard from a lot of people that I've built the test automation framework from scratch. So what they mean by that is they pull in all these libraries, put them together, write the samples and the templates. They'll write a lot of user-friendly libraries to make it easier for the team to maintain the scripts. um, Now, Serenity, I think, has been there for the past 5 years, if I'm not wrong, and they have done a fantastic job of basically building this test automation framework, which is pretty much complete end-to-end feature set. So a lot of these things that previously used to do hand build comes in a box to ready for you to use. So especially for someone who is starting new in the test automation space, you can just get up and running straight away. It's very friendly. There is a lot of good documentation on their site, and there is a good community support. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the Slack, or on their Git community, and usually they get back very quickly. And there is a lot of questions in um, online forums as well. And mainly it's very easy to integrate with your CI/CD, which is also very kind of important these days, that you have your tests running in Jenkins or TeamCity, and those kind of continuous integration systems. And it comes with inbuilt reporting. So previously you would need to use Cucumber reporting or some other reporting, JUnit reporting and things like that, to when you build your framework. Whereas in here it comes with everything readily available. And it also supports different frameworks like Cucumber, JBehave. So JBehave is a flavor of a behavior driven development, similar to Cucumber, but it's got different kind of slight different flavor, and it's mainly for Java. And also you can use JUnit or REST API and a lot more things. It all comes with inbuilt libraries. And it's also flexible. So if you want to do BDD, you can use it. If you don't want, you can just do go vanilla, such as you use JUnit or TestNG kind of options. Or they also have something called a screenplay methodology, which is similar to your Cucumber, but it's like page objects, but it's slightly different. There's a lot of information about these things on the website. In this session, we'll not talk much about it, but just to let you know, so there are loads of features available. Okay. Now we can get started with the actual, hands-on session. So first, I will begin with, how to set up your, Serenity test framework, on your machine. So I am using a Mac machine, so I'll be using that, but it is should be pretty similar for Windows and Linux as well, especially if you're using IntelliJ as me. Once it's all installed, we will quickly run through the UI test automation, and then API test automation. And as I said, if it takes longer, then I might kind of slow down reduce the content of the API test side. Okay, second. Just give me 1 second. Let me check if anyone's waiting on. Okay, no one's there. So if so, this is the Serenity website. If you just click on Serenity. tool. Usually the first one is the Serenity one. So this is their website. Click on what is Serenity. You will find all the information about Serenity, and a lot more than what I've just described in here. Um, so and if you go to the documentation part, so there's a lot of information, in terms of the guides and um, sample examples and things like that. So you could play with it. So what we are going to do is, one thing I've learned, within my experience is, whenever you have a new tool in the market, you want to try, especially if it is kind of Java based. I always tend to kind of go to their GitHub repository, where they have their actual code and samples. So if you see, this is the Serenity BDD website, sorry, GitHub site, where you will find the actual the framework, as well as other the sample tests and things like that. So it is very, very easy. If you just download one of the samples from there and get started with it, you can always work from backwards. So basically, you just take a framework, everything is there, you play with it, and then you start learning from it. You would generally, whenever you learn test automation from people, usually they go with, okay, this is Selenium, go to your POM file, install this thing, put this library, configure these things, run this command, and they'll go through, okay, WebDriver dot get dot whatever, and do all these things, right? So it's all good, but it's very time consuming, right? So if you want to know quickly whether this tool is for you or not, especially if you have some experience already, um, it is very easy to kind of get started with their sample examples. So I always recommend that you follow this approach. Okay, so are you able to see my browser window? This is a GitHub site.
Yeah, we can see
Yeah,
that.
excellent. Okay,
Yeah.
so what I'm going to do, the idea is, so you can see in here, they have Serenity Cucumber Starter. So as I already mentioned, we will do the Cucumber based testing for our demo today. But if you want to do other things like JUnit style, which is JUnit is basically your unit test for framework for Java, but you can extend it to use for your other test automation needs as well. So if you want to go a plain JUnit framework, again, you could go with that. Or if you want to do with JBehave, you could choose this. And there are a lot of other information in terms of Cucumber 4 and REST and whatnot, a lot of other options. So if you want to integrate with like Browser Stack, which is like a cloud-based browser integration, again, they have examples for it. So for this example, I'm just going to use Serenity Cucumber Starter. So click on that. You'll go to that repo, and within that repo, you can see there is a clone button. So we are going to clone this repo. You'll find a lot of information about about this project, and um, details about how to get started with all the information, so you can read in your own space. Okay, so click on clone. You'll see this. If you just click on this button, it will copy the URL. And what you need to do is you need to go to your terminal window. So I am using Mac in my case, so this is my Mac terminal. But if it's Windows or Linux, you'll have your own a terminal window, so you could do that. Okay, so let me just remove everything I have. Okay, I'm just going to do git clone. So you would use this command to clone the repository on your local machine. As I said, this is assuming you already have installed Git and you have your basic understanding about the Git. One second. Yeah. All right. So you click on this. So I think my internet might be a bit slow. My kids are watching Netflix. Okay, so that's downloaded. So if I do ls, you can see it's installed. So it can go to your so I have a folder called demo. Within that demo, I have installed the Serenity framework. It's all there. Okay, what we're going to do now is we are going to open IntelliJ. So IntelliJ is your IDE, integrated development environment. So let me quickly open it. Okay, so cancel. So this is your IntelliJ screen, right? So I am using the latest one. So it's free to use. There is a community version of IntelliJ which is free to use. So it's perfectly good enough for our test automation needs. Okay, so let me increase the screen size. Click on Open or Import, and I'm going to choose the location of the repository I've just created. So Serenity Cucumber. So this is the one I have just downloaded. So I'm going to click Open. And it is saying there are two options. There's a Maven project and Gradle project. So both are kind of similar things, but I prefer to use Maven here. Um, so Maven is basically a packaging mechanism. So when you have a lot of files and things like that, within Java, so within a couple of commands you can actually build the setup. It's like your easy installation for your code. So you choose to open it as a Maven project. Click OK. So it'll load in a bit. As you can see, it is currently loading because it's a Maven a based system. So basically, it has to set up the all the files and libraries and everything. So below the window, you can actually see what's happening. So I think it's pretty much done because the process is completed. So so this is the folder structure. Are you able to see it fine?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so so this is the project window. So you can see there's a project. So you drill it down. Um, you will find things like source, Serenity.properties and libraries and everything. So you can click and expand. You can see resources, Java, features, search. all these things. So all you did is you just downloaded, and because you have chosen to import it via Maven, it has built everything for you very easily. You didn't need to, like, do any hand coding or anything like that. Okay, so ready to use. So basically what we have here is, you have a main folder and a test folder. So within the test folder, there is something called resources. So we'll start with it. Basically, so you have features.search. So basically, in this project they have written a user story or a feature for searching scenario, right? Search by a keyword. The idea is that given Sergi is a person, he's going to research on the internet. In this case, Wikipedia. So he will open the Wikipedia page, and then he go and search for cucumber, and then we expect that there is something displayed about the cucumber. So that is all the tests we are going to do in terms of the UI. Okay. um, so one very important thing that you need to know is in IntelliJ, as soon as I open this feature file, you are able to see it, in a very user-friendly way. It just giving you all these colors, and you can click through, and it gives you all these options. Like, so this is your step, and when you click on it, you go to the step definition, right? So all these things are possible because of a plugin. It's not a IntelliJ feature, but there is a Cucumber feature, a plugin that is available free within the IntelliJ library. So you just need to install it. Without this, you will just see it as a text, like this. You'll just see it as a text. You will not see it as a feature file. So it's very important. You will just need to go to the IntelliJ preferences. So for example, yeah, so I clicked on it, and then you can see there is something called plugins here, plugins, and there's a lot of options available. So there is something called Cucumber for Java. So I have already installed it. So I don't need to reinstall it again. But in your case, if it's not, ensure this is installed. Only then you will see it in a user-friendly way here. Okay. So this is the test. So we will, as I said previously, we will just work backwards. Okay, so this is your test case, and you can drill down into the step definition by clicking into the step. So how you click it is in Mac. I'll be using the command button, similar to your kind of control button in Windows. So you have to hold the command button and take your mouse over. It'll give you clickable action, and then you click on that. Okay, so this will take you to the step definition of that particular step. Okay, so that's how it will work. So one thing also you need to remember in this example, as I said, Serenity is very flexible, and there are a lot of different ways that you can write your test. So for Cucumber, the standard way is using action classes, right? So basically they said, okay, there'll be like three different branches in the Git. So the master is their own screenplay implementation, but if you click on if you check out their screenplay, sorry, action classes branch, then we'll go to the vanilla mode. Okay, so you can either do it from within the IntelliJ window itself, or you could do it on your terminal as well. You can just do git checkout branch, and then you can say the branch name and then do it. Or if you have installed a git plugin within the IntelliJ, you can straight away, because you've already imported this file, it knows about the git repository and everything. So you just click on this, it will give you all the different branches available, and we are going to check out this action classes. So you just click checkout. So now you have the action classes branch checked out. Just make sure all the process behind the scenes is completed, then you're good to go. So as I said, now we'll click I'm going to just click on the command button and take my mouse over and click on the item. So it took me to the implementation. So you can see, so the given Sergi is parameterized. So I hope you know what parameterization already means. So basically, tomorrow maybe you want to say, given Satish is doing something, or Tom is doing something. So you don't want to change your step definition for just for the name. So you can just parameterize, and then you can choose to use any name you want. Okay, so given this is based on regular expression. So Cucumber does it for you already. So if you just build your test cases here and run it, it'll give you this template. Like it'll create your template step definition and the sample method, and then you can start implementing it. So in this case, given someone is researching the internet, and then you write a method. So a method or a function in Java is basically you're implementing that a particular action, right? So within there, so we will be using yeah, we are creating a new method called the Wikipedia homepage. So click on that. So that will take you to this search page. So this is, they are actually using page objects. So for example, what it means by page object is in your UI, you have like your home page, landing page, and then your account page or balance page, and a lot of these things. So you just create a class for each of those pages, and then start putting in the locators or different identifiers for that particular page, so that you could reuse within your tests. So you can see basically they have declared something called a search field, and they're saying within that HTML page there should be an element with ID search input. So in Serenity or Selenium commands, they're saying, okay, find an ID, find an element called a search input, and store it in the search field. And and then what they're saying is, okay, in that search field, so when you get on there, just look at the page, and enter this particular term. So let me show you, let me quickly first run it so you will understand it better. So I need to talk to you something about the property file and configuration file. I'll tell you about it before I start the test. So these are very, very important things that you need to know. So in Serenity, there is something called serenity.property file. So in this property file, you can just define like one-liners. So there is a lot of information on their website about, what are different features you have. Like you could say, by default, run it with Chrome or, Firefox, run it um, run it in a headless mode, or run it within this particular window size, and things like that. There are loads of options available. So you don't need to like work out how to do it. Just go to their website, search for the kind of option you're looking for, and it has that particular flag, and then just put it in. So there is also something called a serenity.configuration file, where you can also define your defaults over there. So in this case, they are by default they've set it to use a Chrome driver, and they've set the headless mode as true. So headless mode means when you run your tests, it'll just run within the memory. It will not actually open a Chrome window, but it'll just run within the memory. Because it's running that way, it'll be like much more faster, and it gives you feedback. So let's in first instance, let's just set it to false, because we want to see the window opening up. So we'll set it to false. And to run these tests, you need to have your different drivers, right? Chrome, IE, or Firefox, whatever. All these drivers needs to be there. So everything is pre-configured for you. It's all installed within this resources folder, within WebDriver. So uh, the framework already figures out which configuration you're running on, and it'll pick the right kind of driver. You don't need to define anything. Straight away it'll pick up that, okay, I'm running this test on Mac, so I need to use this driver. Okay. So yeah, this is the main thing that you need to know. Now let's run it. How you can run is basically you can just right click on the feature file, and you can choose to run it. So first of all, we need to add a configuration. So, oh, okay. So we need to just run Maven install. So let's go into that folder we just created, so you can see all the things there. So you can just run mvn clean install. So this is a Maven command. Okay, basically what it will do is it'll download all the other dependencies, and it'll start to run the tests. Okay, so in Maven you have something called a pom file. um, so this is where all your libraries and everything is defined. This is where it knows, okay, what kind of plugins it needs to have to run the test, different libraries, and the default behavior reporting, and all these things. So again, this pom.xml is going to be very, very important for you to understand. Okay, so when we run the Maven command, it will pick up all these libraries from here, and it will start to download, and it'll start to run. So you can either choose to run it from the command line, or from the IntelliJ window itself. Totally your choice. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this and run it. So now first it will build the project, and then we should expect it opens the Chrome window, and it actually performs the test. So it's executing the test. You can see all the information in there. It's opened up the window, went to the Wikipedia page, searched for cucumber, and the page was there, and it found the element cucumber. Test was complete. So it's given you information that the test has started and it's completed. The number of tests ran, passed and failed, how long it took, all this information it gives you. And by default, it'll download the report as well. So if you just copy this report, just copy this and open it in a browser window. Okay, just go to a browser, paste it, and enter. Okay, so you can see the report as well. Coming in there. So it's a beautiful report, gives you the overall results, how many passed, how many, pending, failed, skipped, all this information is available. In our case, it's passed, how long it took, and so what are the features. If you have multiple features, it'll list there. You can drill down going within it. It'll give you what the test case was. You can go to this results page, and you can see for each and every step. So there were 3 different steps. It not only you know um, is listing you the actual steps, but it's also taken a screenshot of those steps. So if you're running it in a headless mode, or if there are test failures and you want to investigate, you go to the report and you can see the screenshot. Oh, okay, this is the reason why it failed. So you would clearly have the understanding. Okay, so you have the ability to switch off taking screenshots and other things. All you have to do it is, as I said, go to the website, find the flag. So there'll be something called screenshots off on. right? So you just need to put it in the property file, the serenity.property file, and it'll do it for you. Um, okay, so that's any questions so far?
Where is the test runner? I mean, to run the test, I mean, like we need to give the path of feature file where it is and property files and plugins. Where did you add that one?
Sure. So in this particular instance, as I said, we have taken an example, right, of a sample project, right? So they have done everything for you together. So if you were to, for example, use Serenity framework for your company or your place, you can just get started with this thing. Just change the name, right? So it's the name of the project. It's Serenity Cucumber. So you just give it your own name and make changes within the POM file to remove the generics and put it your this thing. But in terms of your particular question of how it knows where to pick up the files from, so there is something called Cucumber test suite, right? So basically this is where this is your runner file, right? So Cucumber is your framework. Basically, you have your given when then, which is your feature file, which is a text format. And so the question is, how does it know, where the step definitions are, where the glue code are and things like that. So there should be something called a runner file. And so basically it is configured to run with Cucumber Serenity class. So that will take care of all the implementation of how it is supposed to pick up the files. So this is the template, and basically all you need to do is just provide where your feature files exist. So in our case, our feature files exist under source, test, resources, and the features, right? So you just specify there. So by default, when you run the Maven clean install, it just goes to that features and picks up any feature file that exists. So tomorrow you could just write hundreds of features, so it'll pick each one of those features one by one and then start to run through, execute through.
Thank you, sir.
Does Cheers. Any more questions?
Just one more question. Is there any option to say run first this particular feature file, then after this? Um, is that help with the tags or is there any option there?
Yeah, there are multiple options. It is possible. I think the default behavior is it goes by alphabetic. So let's say if you have 10 feature files here, so by default it will just pick it up alphabetically and start to run through, regardless of how it's set up here. So it'll run it that way. But you can define the sequence in terms of using different tags or features, and a lot of different options are there, and you can specify it within your Serenity properties, or you can also pass it in as a Cucumber tag option in the command line. um, a lot of information is available on internet on this or on their website.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
No worries.
Sorry, muted, Satish.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just take out my microphone.
Hi, Satish. I've got a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
How does this differ from Python?
Python is just a language. I mean, in terms of if you ask between Java and Python,
Yeah.
lot of people are moving towards Python these days because Python is a scripting language as opposed to Java. Java is the object-oriented language, right? So
Okay.
you would need to know some basics of Java, to progress with your tests. I mean, you don't. Java is a vast language, right? So you don't need to know, full in advance, but you need to know what your method is, what a class is, how
Yeah.
to differentiate a variable, and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas with Python, it's just a scripting language, so there are a lot of one-liner commands, so you can just use them to execute it. Unfortunately, I don't know if Serenity supports Python. There might be some kind of different Git for it. I don't know, but the official supported language is Java.
Okay. Because I'm in the process of learning Python, and I find it. I've tried to understand Java and JavaScript, but it just takes a while for me. But when it came to Python, I picked it up really quickly. So
Yes, indeed.
I prefer Python to Java, if that makes sense.
Indeed, yeah. So I mean, Python is especially becoming very popular within the testing space because it's very easy to learn. There's a lot of support, but then Java for test automation is not bad either. I think you just need to
Okay.
know some basics. You should be fine. And one of the main reasons is you because Java has been there. Java with Selenium, Cucumber has been there for like more than 10 years now. There's
Mm.
loads of Python online. So yeah, and especially Serenity makes it even more easier.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, so I think we have only 5 more minutes. So let me quickly try to finish this tutorial, and so that we can go to REST API. So we'll have some time for the API testing as well. Okay, so as I said, you start here. You click on the step. You go into the step definition. You can see there are 3 different steps. You can change. You can choose to change the things, right? So, for example, in this case, click on the Wikipedia page. There is something called search page dot open. So this is a Selenium command. Okay, so you just click on this. What they're saying is the default URL is the Wikipedia dot open. So let's go ahead and change this to, let's say, Bing.com, which is Microsoft's search engine. So let's change that to Bing.com. Okay. All you're doing is you're just defining the URL in here, and you just say .open, and it will open the website for you. So that's simple. Go back. And so now, instead of opening the Wikipedia page, we are opening the Bing.com website, and we are going to search for that term cucumber, right? So let's keep the method as it is. So let's just go to term. So you can see there is basically, on that page, there is a search box. So they're clearing whatever is there on the search box, and then they're entering the value. So in our case, so let's just comment out this clear option. If you see, search field is defined in here. So it's found by an ID called search input. So this may not be the same for Bing.com, right? So let's go and find out what would that be for Bing.com. So let's go to Bing.com. Okay, so how you identify the HTML element for you to use it on your test script is I'm using Chrome, so I just right click on inspect. So this will open up the developer tab. In here you can see the HTML view. Okay, so click on this button and take your mouse over to the input box. Click on there. So you can see the HTML code for it. So you can see there is an ID called sb_form_q with name, Q, and all these things. So Selenium gives you, option to, do the actions, in different forms. So let's just copy this line. I'm going to comment it out and just enter it again. And I'm just going to remove the ID. So you can see by, basically, if you're familiar with the traditional Selenium WebDriver concepts, you'll have something called WebDriver dot, find by ID, find by name, and all these things. So, you just, do by dot click, and it will give you all the different options available. So you can search by name, search by, link text or class or ID. A lot of options are there. So in our case, we are just going to use by name. So the name is Q, right? So let's just use name. Okay, so click on that, the name, and the name is going to be Q. Okay, so it's going to search by, that particular element. Now this search field is referring to this particular search box. Okay, so the idea is it goes there and enter that text and search for the item. Okay, so now let's go back. It enters the key. So again, send keys is a Selenium command, which means, you can just pass this particular term and then click enter. So this is the command. So you have full reference of all the different options available on the Selenium website, Serenity website, or you can just choose to, click enter here, and then it will give you. Okay, so you know that there is a field. What do you want to do? Do you want to find something? Do you want to select an element? Do you want to, do a follow-up action on top of it, or do you want to wait, or do you want to, get some text? Do you want to focus on the window? Whatever, action that your journey needs it, is available, in these options. So it's very easier to, you don't even need to go to their website to know the different commands. Like, previously you would have to know all these, different commands if you need to write a Selenium test. This just makes it so much easier with, Serenity, that you just, define the element, click on it, then, it gives you all the different options. You know that, okay, I have to find something, so I click on it, and then you have different options available, right? So in this case, we are just going to send the information. The command send keys, the term which we are going to send, and we are going to click the enter key. So that's the idea. Okay. So we made this test. Now let's go back. So this is also done. The third step is that there is assertion, so which is your verification, right? So in this page, we have searched for cucumber, and we are expecting the heading, contains cucumber. So heading is defined in here. So there's an element for page heading called the first heading. Obviously, this will select or locate will be different for Bing. So this is going to fail. So let's let it fail, so that we'll also know the failure scenario of how it will look. Okay. So we made these changes. Save it. Now run the test. Clear. Maven clean install again. Open up the window. Now it opened the Bing website. Okay, it entered the cucumber, and it got some search results. So now it's trying to find the cucumber in the heading, but the heading locator doesn't exist on this page, so it will fail, right? So now in this case, you can see the test has failed. It will tell you the test has started, and then it executed. So these two steps were fine, but the third step has failed. And it also gave you the reason why it failed, unable to locate this particular element. Yeah. And the exact reason for failure. and number of tests executed, passed none, one with error, how long it took, and all this information. Now let's go to the report. So it's the same location. So we just click on that. You can see now one test has failed. It's broken. Okay. You can see the reason. The coverage is poor. Click on this. So this was the test case, and you want to see the test results. Search for a term. You can see in positive case it took a screenshot. It also, you can also see that it went to the search page and found the thing, but it failed. Now it should tell you the reason why it failed. So it says unable to locate this particular element, and it also gave you the screenshot. Okay, so and you can also see the transition. It was here, um, and the end result was also this. Okay, and you can drill down for some more information for stack trace if you want to. Okay, so you can also in within the report, it's very advanced. You can do a lot of different things, like if you have you can bring it down by different features here. If you don't want to look at the overall results, but just want to look at the feature level views, if you have multiple features, it will be listed here. You can go one by one and drill down, and you can define capabilities. So the capability is such, right, in this case. So you can do it by that particular function. Drill down and see what happened there, and requirements, overall test results. So it's very advanced. So there are a lot of other concepts like tags, that you want to run with this hierarchy, which contains the original story, and you want to get yeah. So yeah, if you want to just give it a tag, you want to group all the different features into one kind of epic, or you want to tag it with a particular Jira ID, you can do all those things, and you can get that kind of a view if you mention those tags. So it's it's pretty good. Any more questions? I don't see any messages in the chat window. So if you're good with this, then I can quickly go ahead with the REST API, framework. Unless you have any more questions, I can go to the next one.
Sir, where did you add the elements, sir? Which class? In which class did you add the elements?
It depends. So we are using the page objects framework here, right? So the way it's structured is you have the capability is search, right? And then there is navigation. So navigation is basically, going on to a certain website. So whenever you are launching a particular, website or a particular page, you define it there. So this is the, navigation folder. And then there is a search folder where you have different kind of options, search for, search a form, search result, and things like that, right? And then the step definition. So in the Wikipedia page, this is where you have described your locator.
Okay.
So whatever locators are applicable for your website, you'll have to define it here.
Okay. So if I use other websites, so I can create the another page objects.
Exactly. So this is search, right? So you can just use it as a template, right? So how I recommend you do it is, so this is search. So in your case, let's say you're doing, account, I don't know, like balance transfer transaction, for a banking website or something. So you create a feature for it, define your thing, and then start implementing it, backwards. It's very easy. So for example, if I want to extend this, what I do is then I expect something else to happen. Okay? So this uh, step is added, but the step definition is not does not exist, right? So that's why you can see this warning. So you can just click on this create step definition, okay, and you can choose where you want to put it in. You can, if it's a new feature, you can, try to maintain it in a new file, or you can just choose, existing ones. So I'm just going to choose one of the existing ones. So you can see this is where all your step definitions are, right? So it has automatically created the glue code for you, right?
Yeah.
So then I can just create, okay, I'm going to asset for something else, right? So I'm just going to copy this, put it in. And let's say instead of search results page, now I want to, for example, check it from the accounts page, right? So what I do is I create something called accounts page, okay? So it's going to complain because this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So what I'll do now is I have to create this page backwards. So what we can do is um, search result. So I'm going to create a class called accounts page, and it will automatically give you. So I'll choose this. Okay. Now, so this is passing. So this thing is created. So now you need to create the accounts page class. So now you can go back and create the accounts page.
Yeah.
Okay. So that way you can just implement backward the name. Okay. So you'll create something called accounts page in here, and then start to describe the different locators and different functions you want to have within that page.
Yeah. Thanks.
So I'm just going to skip it. Let's reset it to roll back. I'm just going to roll back to its original state. Okay, all the things are now gone. Yeah, it's all done. Cool. So now I'm just going to go to the REST API option. Okay. Now, the way I approach it is exactly similar to how I have done it before. So go to the GitHub page. Okay. Go to the homepage, and here you will find something called Serenity REST Starter. Click on that. Clone. You'll find all the information about it in here. So clone the file and install it. So I have done it already to minimize the time. So I'll straight away open that folder on my IntelliJ. Okay, assuming you'll be doing the same. So in here, I just do open. Um, so I've created something called Serenity folder, and there is REST starter. So I'm just going to click on that folder and open. It will ask you what do you want to do with existing project. Do you want to keep it here, or open a new window? So I just want to replace it. So I'll just choose this window, and that will load the project. You will see from the bottom if any of the process is happening. It will show you, but if it's empty, then it's all done. Ready. So the template will be similar. So it again we are using the Cucumber framework to have given and then. So in this case, this is basically an REST API. We are not interacting with the user interface. We are going to use the REST interface. So REST interface, basically you have an endpoint, and it will have its own methods like get, post, and all these things. And we'll be using if you open the form.xml file, you will see that behind the scenes they are using something called rest assured framework. So rest assured is the library to interact with the REST API. So like you'll have the Serenity commands, will have the ability to interact with the REST API commands. So how you go inside is basically drill down, command click, go inside, then you can see the step implementations. And let's say there is an application, and first of all you want to find whether it is running or not. So there is a method called current state. Click on it. So you can see they're using the rest assured framework in here, and there is a option for get. So similarly, you can choose to use different kinds of commands. So click on rest assured dot, and it will tell you. So there is get, given, post, delete. All your rest commands will be available. So you can choose whatever you want to choose. Um, and so in this particular example, basically they're opening that URL. So the URL is defined in here. So there is a um, URL for getting the status and for the trade. So in this case, they're using just a local endpoint, but in your case, you'll point it to a test environment. Okay, so we just do a get call and get the status code, and we are ensuring whether the status code is 200 or not, or whatever it is. And based on your test case, you can define that. So similarly, um, your accession, for example, then the API should return this particular expected message. Expected message is coming from the feature file that it should say Serenity REST starter project up and running. Yeah. So we'll go back to that page. So it's getting the last response body, and last response body is the response from the previous message. And in terms of running the tests, again, it will be very similar. So you can either choose to run it from the folder. So basically, just right click and then you can do just run. For example, here run. You can see all the things that's happening. Yeah, so the test failed. I think because it's a local endpoint that doesn't that port is not open. Port 80 is used, so that's why connection is refused and the test has failed. And even for this, you'll get the report. So let's just go and run it from the timeline. So, so there is folder called here I have what's the latest topic, and I'm just going to do an install. So it's executing the test. Yeah. So it's run all the tests. So there are, first test is that making sure that application endpoint exists, and then second one is recording a new trade for that. So the thing is complete. So you can find the report URL from the logs. Just copy that, go to the browser window, paste it. Sorry, paste anywhere here, for example. So the test has passed. So there are two features, checking on the application status, test results. You can see there is no screenshot in this case because it's not a UI based test and it's a REST query. So you can see what the particular call was on the REST query, the status code, and all the information. You could just realize if you were to build your own framework, all of these things will need to be hand built. in this case, everything is provided for you. You just get up and running straight away very easily. So this is and in terms of the framework, it is pretty similar to the UI one. Nothing new. So you have a similar kind of structure, main test Java. You could choose to use different approaches as well. As I said, it's very flexible. Tool is very flexible. So there is something called Serenity's screenplay option, which is pretty cool as well. You should check it out. In terms of property, the configuration file, they are same. You could define all your defaults and drivers and everything in this thing. So with that, I think we have come to the end of the session. Any questions on the REST framework?
Can I just quickly ask you?
Yep.
It's nothing to do with the presentation. Are you recording this session, right?
Yes, I am. So I will. Yeah.
So if you wanted this recording, are you going to pass it on to us? Or?
Yes, indeed. So recording it. Once it's complete, it'll take some time to have the video, and I will share the video link. So I'm not sure where you actually came from. Did you come from LinkedIn or any of your friends referred you?
My friend referred me, right? Yeah.
Okay.
He is on LinkedIn, but yeah, he referred it to me.
Okay. I am just going to send you, in the chat window. Let me quickly send my YouTube channel.
Right.
A second. So this is my YouTube channel.
Seven Satish.
Seven Satish. So you can search for Seven Satish. I'll send you my actual channel.
You're going to upload there.
So
and in the same way, like system bug means if you have login issue, then it knows, okay, it could be a system issue or maybe product.
Yeah, sorry, that was a previous video I did. So I've sent you the link to one of my YouTube videos there. So I will be uploading this session in the YouTube and check it out from there.
Nice, thank you.
And if you have any issues, so I don't know which friend referred you, so feel free to ask him. And so in the same YouTube video, I'm going to put in my my contact details and other information there. So feel free to get it.
Yeah, that will be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so we are done with the installation, UI, and API automation. So yeah, if you don't have any further questions, so we can talk about the conclusion and the next steps. So what I suggest is it's great, you've had the opportunity to learn about Serenity, and I hope this is useful. So try to kind of play with it, even if you don't end up actually using it within your company or project. Only if you try to know what the problems are. And also I have not covered certain things like setting up your Maven and Java and your Selenium basics and things like that. So when you try it, I'm sure you will have a lot of it won't be as smooth as it was on my session. So you will find a lot of issues, so you will do some research and find out. If you have any questions, or if you're stuck somewhere, I suggest that you post your questions in the YouTube video that I'm going to post. Basically, this is a community thing, right? So I may not be available all the time. I may not be able to help you, but the idea is that we want to, as a test community, we want to help each other out. Yeah. So a lot of people in here are quite experienced, and they kind of are very well experienced with other tools. So if not me, someone else can pick up the question and answer it. That way we are knowledge sharing. I would appreciate if people could log into the video and check out and help people if they have any questions to make it a collaborative thing. Cool. So that's pretty much it. I will post my contact details in the you will find my information in the YouTube video, my LinkedIn and email. So feel free to get in touch with me. Yeah, I hope this is useful. If you have any feedback, about the video or feel free to let me know. It will help me improve further. And yeah, you can have, it's totally open to the floor. If you have any questions on this session or anything. I mean, I have been in the testing space for a very long time now. So even if you have any general testing question, you can ask me. If I can help answer it.
That's great. Thank you so much for your presentation. We really appreciate. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, so that's great. I think we finished like 5 minutes early. Yeah, feel free to get in touch with me if you have any further questions. Look out for the video. It should be there on the channel soon. Just copy the link from the chat window.
Nice presentation, Satish. It's very helpful. We can use this in our real time. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. See you then.
Thank
Bye.
you, Sad. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.